welcome or welcome back. My name is Jennifer, and here on my channel I like to chat about all things beauty and makeup. And I am currently in the process of doing my collection and declutter. So I'm not going to do a specific special intro and outro for each video because that's just too much work. And if I try to do that, I won't do it. I just won't. I know myself. So I will do this by categories, and I will have the category listed in the thumbnail or the title of the video, or both. And just general housekeeping things. Anything that I have that is available will be listed on my Mercari page, which when it's listed, when I have things listed, I'll link the Mercari page below. And then, yeah, I'm not looking to do like a cut my collection in half. I'm not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination. So enough housekeeping, let's get into the actual declutter. So I have three indie brands here. If you can't tell yet, I love indie brands. Let's do Simply Posh. This is the Aurora Lights palette. Admittedly, the first time I used this palette, I hated it. The mattes are okay. The shimmers were like so hard pressed. Once I kind of like dug into them a little bit, the second time I used it, I liked it a ton more. Like, loved it. I really loved the look that I did with this. Like, these shimmers are beautiful, which I know they had an issue with, I think, the Coastal palette being like too hard pressed, and then they re-released it. So I hope that they've gotten their issues worked out. I really want their, like, I think it's Citrus Punch is what it's called. It's like a neon palette. I've been talking myself out of it because, like, problems, you know? Archie, what are you doing? The orange cat is in here, and he is like one brain cell train wreck. I love him though. So I have the Melt She's in Parties palette. I love this. It's not much. Like, she's a pretty basic, like, mulberry burgundy palette, but the shimmers aren't anything like insanely impressive, but I love every single look I do with this palette, so I'm keeping it. And then I have the Gemini, and I got this when they re-released it with the Gemini 2, so mine's a little bit more fresh, thankfully. This palette is like a grungy fall dream for me. Again, there's only 2 shimmers. They're not like insane. If you want insane, you'd have to dip into your singles or another palette. And that's why I keep saying, like, I could depot it and put it in my singles because I reach into them all the time for things like this, where the mattes are amazing, the color story inspiring, the shimmers leave a little bit to be desired. And then this is the Gemini 2, and this one, again, only has 2 shimmers, but man, Melt shines in their matte formula. I love their matte formula. Like, the fact that Bailey Sarian did an all matte palette does not shock me because I feel like that is really where Melt has, like, the bee's knees. And then this one is the Amor and Mariposa palette. And I want to love this. I have wanted to love this so much. I love the butterfly imprints in this palette. That is honestly like the hardest part for me of decluttering this, is how cute the butterflies are. And like, butterflies are just so meaningful and special to me in my life with my husband. But I don't like this palette. I don't like using it. I don't like the looks I've done with it. there are some people that love this palette and swear by it, and they make beautiful looks, but I'm not one of those people, so I'm going to declutter it. And then I have two palettes from Cosmic Beauty, formerly Cosmic Brushes. I have the Cool Tools palette, which is just basically like blue and purple with like a guest appearance with black. But they're all cool toned. So I haven't tried this one yet. The Eclipse shade didn't quite make it in one piece from the UK, but that is okay. And then I have the Undergrowth palette, which is their newest release, and I had to just bite the bullet and order this. I ordered the only two palettes that were available when this launched, and I can't freaking wait to put this on my face. I just got it within the last week, and I haven't worn it yet because I was getting over a cold. And I do not use my makeup when I'm sick because, one, I'm too tired and feel like crap, and two, I don't want to, like, I don't know, it feels unsanitary. So, out of this grouping, we're keeping 6 and decluttering 1. Okay, I have another stack of, like, kind of random onesie-twosies. Let me start with the duplicates. BoxyCharm sent out my August box. This is the palette they chose for me. This is a palette that I purchased because I'm a clown and I do things like that. I purchased it as an add-on for like $10 and I was like, heck yeah, man. Yeah, I have problems. So they lost my August box. It was like in transit for 25 days. And I was like, bro, send me a replacement. So my August box came the same week as my September box, my August box replacement. And then a week later, the original August box showed up. Like the box was like beat to crap, but all the stuff inside was good. So I have a duplicate of this iconic London Treat Yourself eyeshadow palette, and then I also have a duplicate of this Ciate I Am a Woman, What's Your Superpower Volume 2 palette. So these two are definite like declutter, sell, giveaway, something. So then we have this one, Ciate I Am a Woman, What's Your Superpower Volume 2. And yeah, I love this. It's so boring. I love it. Like a pop of muted purple, some of these like cranberry tones, some fun little shimmers that are probably more like satins, one that looks a little more glittery. Yes, 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 a great everyday palette. Perfect. So fun. And the cover, like how can you not love that? So that's a keep. This iconic London one, I've gone kind of back and forth on. This is the Treat Yourself eyeshadow palette, and I feel like this is more of like a spring thing that I would use. But I'll be honest, like the shade Pink Lemonade is like calling to me. It's like, wear me, Jennifer. Like put me on your face and you'll love me. So I mean, I have it. I may as well keep it because if I declutter it, then I'm going to be regretting it more than likely. And then I'll repurchase it as an add-on in my like last bag like an idiot. So yeah, my BoxyCharm subscription is almost up. So this influx of palettes and other random makeup will stop for the most part. I have this Il Makiage Color Boss Squad palette, and I was going to declutter it, but I saw Bethany Loves Eyeshadow do a look with this on her Instagram, and she was like raving about it. I'm like, well, I already own it. I may as well keep it. This one is called The Shots. I think she had a different one that had like maybe a burgundy in it, but yeah, we're just gonna put that over there. I have two Flower Beauty palettes. I have the Jungle Lights and the Desert Lights. And I thought about depotting these. This one came smashed to crap. I thought about depotting these because they're so good. I mean, they're beautiful. Like that murky green is so gorgeous, but you know, again, having sat here and swatched all these indie eyeshadow palettes, I feel like this is probably something I could pass on to someone else. Now, the Desert Lights has a few of my favorite shimmers here. I could live without this one. I don't think I give two craps about this one. It's pretty, but like, it's just not, I have a bunch of these. It's not anything special, really. But some of these I really like. So I probably will depot this one and save the like 2 or 3 shades that I really like from it and put them in my singles. But I feel like for drugstore, these are great. I saw them on sale for like $7 a palette on Ulta the other day. So keep your eye out if you want these. Ulta sometimes puts them on sale for pretty cheap. And then this is a palette that one of my coworkers saw on TikTok or Instagram, and she said it made her think of me. So she, ow, why are you like this? She said it made her think of me, so she ordered it, and I think it's so freaking pretty. Like, look at these shimmers. I've used Pluto, and I think no, I haven't used Venus yet. I think I used Neptune. But yeah, they're really pretty. It was so sweet of her. Like, what a kind, thoughtful person she is. She really is one of the most kind and thoughtful people that I think I've ever met. I'm a crap friend, so I haven't really returned the favor. But this is the Star Guardian Glimmer Palette from YVA Expressions. And I just think that was so kind and thoughtful. And like, look how gorgeous those are. I need to take this and put it in my like rotation with my palettes to use as like a companion. So, oops, that's in the wrong pile. So out of this stack, we are keeping 5 and decluttering 3. All right, let's do Dominique Cosmetics and Huda Beauty. So this I received, this is the Essential palette. I got this in BoxyCharm. Holy crap, like this is a beautiful, like basic, neutral, everyday palette with like a little bit of bling. Love this one. Then, like an idiot, I ordered these 4 on Mercari, brand new in box. So this one is the Unconditional palette, and I don't need it, but like she's pretty, so we're just gonna do that. We're just gonna keep her. And then I have the Latte 2 palette, which I'm so tempted to keep this one, but I feel like I wouldn't miss it if I passed it on. So I think I am going to declutter this one. I may put this in purgatory for a little bit longer and sit with it a little bit longer before I list it for sale. But I think I'm okay to pass that one on. And then I have the Moment palette, which is the whole reason that I ordered the set that I did, because I really wanted this one, and I don't know why I didn't order it on Ipsy when they had it as like an add-on or in the drop shop, but yeah. I love the blues in this one with the browns, and yep, we're just gonna put that over there in the keep pile. And then there's the Transitions palette, and this is It says multi-use eye and face palette. This is supposed to be like just a basic matte palette. What in the world is on this? Okay. This one it's brand new. It's never been used, never been swatched, never been touched. It looks like some of this black maybe transferred, possibly. Maybe I got it on my fingers before I put the palette away last time. Because I have looked at it, I have toyed with it a little bit. Yeah, there's nothing in here. So I'm definitely gonna pass on the Transitions palette. It's not anything that I need. I don't need an all matte palette of basic neutrals. It's lovely if that's like your everyday makeup vibe, but clearly I have different vibes lately. So then Huda Beauty, I have 3 palettes from her. I have the Mercury Retrograde, which was a beautiful gift from one of my family members. I'm a little perturbed because this shade I really love and it's pretty dry. I do have some Duraline that I may try to revive it with, but I loved this shade. It's a pretty finely pressed glitter, but I loved it. It was like my favorite shade in the whole palette. It is a little bit on the older side, but yeah, I have Colourpop pressed glitters that are still like going strong that I bought like years ago, like years ago. So a little annoyed with that, but I will probably just try to Duraline that and see if I can revive it. If not, I'll just scrape it out. I do go back and forth on putting this on like the chopping block. Should I declutter it? Because I really don't do anything with those turquoise shades and they kind of distract me a little bit. I typically stick with like these 2 rows in the palette, and then maybe like dip into 1 or 2 shimmers, but I think it's a beautiful palette. It's one I want to keep, and I love the packaging. I love the gift too. This one's the Rose Quartz, which I just got this year. Whatever this shade is, I'm probably going to scrape out because I cannot stand the texture. Like, I don't mind like the concept behind it is fine. I like different textures and palettes. It is pretty beautiful, but it's kind of like a Vaseline feel, and I cannot stand that on my skin. That is just no. It's a no for me. It's funny, a lot of people call that shade the Petri dish, and they're not really wrong. That is what it looks like. So keeping that one, and then this is the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Palette Remastered. This was like the second high-end palette that I received in BoxyCharm, and so this one's pretty old, but the shimmers are still like going strong. The mattes still perform. It doesn't smell weird or funky. It still works great. So this palette I'll definitely keep. I just tend to lean into this more in like the colder months when I prefer like much more like cool tone, smoky, sultry looks. So not very adventurous here. Keeping 6 and decluttering 2, but every little bit counts. We have just a few brands left. This is Too Faced. Most of these are pretty new to me, so I probably won't be getting rid of them. Kitty Likes to Scratch was a super sweet Valentine's Day surprise from my husband. So 100% keeping this, not just because of the sentiment, but I think it's so cute. Packaging is adorable. The color story is cute. I like it. Keeping it. I'm missing a palette that I want to declutter. It's an REM Beauty palette, and I don't know where it is. If I find it, I'll add it to the total, but I probably won't find it until I put all this crap away. Who knows when that will be. Anyways, let's stick with these cute little palettes. So then I have the Let's Play. This one I got on Ipsy, and I mean, this is a color story that I love. I love these, like, that kind of burgundy shade with the pink and the peach. I like the shimmers. I wouldn't say they're like anything competing with indie shimmers, but they're cute. And again, I love the packaging. I like the palettes in the tins from them. I think they're pretty good. I don't have any of the big tins. They haven't released any that have really interested me since like all the hype with the pumpkin, is it pumpkin spice? I know they did Second Slice and nobody liked that one. That one wasn't in a tin. Anyways, I was late to the game on makeup, and I never was really like into that kind of eyeshadow when those were popular, and now they just haven't released anything in these special tins in the big size that has interested me. The Island Spritz, something like that. I can't remember what it's called. That one was cute, but I felt like I didn't need those colors. Color Story didn't like scream by me. So this one is cute. This is That's My Jam. It smells a little bit like grape jam jelly. The first one I received was completely busted. I had to just trash it. But I did get a second one. I had to get a refund, get a discount code, and then repurchase it to get it at the same price. So dumb. Anyways, then I have these two little ones. I have the Born This Way Warm Ember Nudes, which was a gift this year for, I think, my birthday. And I think these are really pretty. These are like some kind of amped up shimmers that they have, at least one. These are more satiny, but this glitter one is gorgeous. And I found working with the mattes was fine. And then this is the Cold Smolder Nudes. Same with this one. Working with these mattes was not too hard. And again, they have like one like amped up kind of shimmery shade. They're not terribly different from each other. But I think these were sweet gifts from my family, and I like these. I think they're perfect for travel, which I've had to do more of recently, even though I am a homebody and I hate it. Then we have the Born This Way, the Natural Nudes, and I always forget and underestimate how much I love this palette, but every look I've done with this, I've loved, and it's just one that I definitely think I want to keep around. The packaging is okay. Like, it's cardboard, it's sturdy. I'm not really sure what they were doing with this, like, ombre effect here. I don't know. I feel like maybe we could have had a little bit nicer of some artwork here, but yeah, I love this. It's beautiful. So I'm keeping 6 and I'm decluttering a box. I know that doesn't count. Okay, Tarte is one of my favorite eyeshadow brands. So it should be no surprise that I have so many palettes. It should also be no surprise that I don't really think I will be decluttering any of these. Sorry to spoil that for you, but I don't know, maybe. There's one or two that are kind of like maybe on the chopping block right now, but let's get into them. Let's do the little baby ones first. Okay, so these cardboard 6 pans I really like. And where the hell are my other palettes? Hold on. Breaking news, I found the REM Beauty palette I wanted to declutter. So this is Principessa. I don't know how to pronounce that. I like this one, but I feel like it's really similar to Kitty Likes to Scratch in Color Story. I haven't heard the greatest things about the REM Beauty eyeshadow formula. I did want to try it, but I feel like since I haven't even like swatched this one, I can pass it along, and eventually something will come out that like really interests me and is different that I want to try. And if not, oh well, she should have done better. So these little 6 pans that come in these little like cardboard packaging, I think are really good quality. I don't know if they're made somewhere different. Made in USA, made in Taiwan, USA, Taiwan, and Taiwan. I will say the ones made in Taiwan are my favorites. And then these 6 pans, I did not like as much. This one is made in Taiwan. Taiwan and Taiwan. Okay. So these were part of a holiday gift set last year that came with like a face palette, and I didn't super love the one that I used. So this is the Tartelette. They call a lot of things tartlets. It's very confusing. This was the Tartelette Starlight, and then this one is the Maracuja Juicy, which the Juicy is the one that I used. And I didn't really like the Juicy very much, so this one can definitely go. And then out of these two, I feel like I have a lot of neutral color stories, and I won't be missing anything if I declutter the Starlight, even though I love the packaging. But I feel like I want to keep this one. Like maybe I'll like this one. The colors are just kind of like speaking to me right now. So I'm going to keep the Tartelette and declutter the other two. It's been like, these have been in purgatory for a while, and I can't get rid of all 3 of them. All right, these little 6 pans are different from these in the plastic case. So let's go through these. We'll start with my absolute favorite, which is the Tartelette Jewel. I've seen this go in and out of stock, and it sometimes will just completely disappear from the website, and then out of nowhere it'll appear again. So like, it's not like it goes out of stock and it's like, email me, you know, so you can get notified. It just like poof goes away. So I really love this color story. I was actually watching Lauren May Beauty. She tried this out, loved it, and I was like, well, crap, that looks like something I would love. And I sure do. And then around the same time, I got the Tartelette Spark, which I don't like quite as much, but I do enjoy, obviously. And so I think because I have this one, that's another reason I can let go of the Starlight, because they're pretty much the same vibes. It's not the same, but the same vibes. And I like this palette better. I like these formulas better than the plastic ones. And then I have the Tartelette Tease. And this one is like super, super basic B. Like there's nothing special about this, but I like it and would probably travel with it. And then I have the Tartelette Fresh Picked. And again, this is pretty basic, but it's like kind of light and pinky and girly. And also I love the packaging, so I'm keeping it. And then I have the Temptress. This was like in a gift set, and I didn't even see it until it was like gone and discontinued, but I found it unopened on Mercari, and I freaking snatched that thing up because I love this color story, and yes, I'm definitely keeping. All right, this stack is also a challenge for me. Again, I've got like 1 or 2 in my mind that maybe I could declutter. But I just love these palettes, and I don't want to declutter for the sake of decluttering. So I have the Tartelette Energy, and I love this one. Is it my tippy top most favorite palette in my whole collection? No. Is it one of my favorite Tarte palettes? Yes. So we're going to keep it. Also, the packaging, so much joy. This is the Tarte Man Eater, and I used this the other day, like before I got sick. And this is so freaking basic, but it was so easy to put a look together for work. I did get a little carried away with some smokiness, but I don't care. They have several volumes of the Man Eater. They call, just like they call a lot of things Tartlet, they call a lot of things Man Eater too. I think there's like a Man Eater volume 3 out right now at Ulta. This is the Leave Your Mark Volume 2 Eye and Cheek Palette, and it's so cute, but I think this is one that I can let go of. I feel bad because this was a gift, maybe for Mother's Day or birthday, but it's one that I'm okay moving on. It was from one of my kids or my husband. I honestly don't remember. I'm pretty sure my husband bought it, and then one of my kids picked it out to give it to me. This is the Gilded palette. These two were like also in a holiday set last year, and I waited until they were on sale after the holidays and snatched them up. I lost my other light. All right, we're gonna finish Tarte, and then I guess I'm going to bed, which is such crap because I still have two more brands to do, and then I think that's it. And then I think we're done. So again, this has those like cranberry and neutral shades that I love, and it has some like really gorgeous like shimmer shades, which you can't quite see because I don't have a lot of light here, but hopefully you can still see it. So this one leans more like warm, neutral. This one leans more like cool, green, blue. And I like them both, so I'm gonna keep them both. Oh, there's no helping me. And then I have the Tarte Man Eater Nightfall palette. I waited for this one to go on sale too. And I could almost declutter this one. I feel like I need to use it a few more times. So this is one I would classify as like being on the chopping block. I paid enough money for it that I want to give it more of a chance. I mean, yes, I got it on a really good deal, but I still paid money for it. And so I don't want to just declutter for the sake of decluttering, just to like whittle down my collection. I want to make sure what I'm decluttering is genuinely things that like I don't think I'll miss. So that's where we're at with Tarte. So that's all right. So I'm keeping 11, and out of this bunch I am decluttering 4. I will take it. It is very difficult for me to declutter Tarte. Just kidding. I have like 4 brands left. I forgot about Adept Cosmetics and Colourpop. And then I have Natasha Denona and McGrath. I'm definitely going to bed. I will finish this probably tomorrow. Sweet dreams. Good night. Good night. Okay, so now we have Adept Cosmetics. I will start with these 2 palettes. All right. So we have the La Cienega, which this palette was in a mystery box that taught me never to buy a mystery box again. It ended up being like, it was touted as like 9 brand new, never before released products. And it ended up being this palette and 8 liquid eyeliners. They were multi-chrome eyeliners, but I don't wear liquid eyeliner. So that was a bit of a frustration, which, you know, I would have expected like maybe like 2 of the same or 3 of the same at most, but like 8 of the same product. No. I actually don't think they've done a mystery box since then because they got a lot of backlash for that. So this palette this is not what the La Cienega actually looks like. If I'm able to remember while I'm editing, I will pop up a picture of what this actually looks like. And the reason this does not look the way it's supposed to look is because some of the shades are in the Heather Austin palette. And I will try to remember to put up a picture of what the Heather Austin palette is actually supposed to look like. I can tell you, like, right off the bat, like from sight, I know that this shade, and I'm pretty sure this one are all from the Heather Austin palette. I don't, like, for sure these two, I don't like those mattes. So I definitely wanted to switch out the mattes, and then I wanted like one extra matte, like a lighter one. So I pulled in these 5 shades and pulled out the mattes, plus I think this one. The good thing about Adept is that all of their palettes are magnetic and the shade names are written on the back of them. So you don't have to like pre-label them if you want to switch stuff around to be able to get them back in their original form, which I love because eventually I do like things back like the way that they are supposed to be. But for this season, I wanted to see if I like this palette better with different mattes because I don't really like the green and the yellow that are in this one. The yellow looks awful on me, and then the green just doesn't really do anything for me. But I love the shimmers in this palette. A lot of people don't like Adept's matte formula. I think it is good. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it's terrible. I do think that where they shine is their shimmer formula. I do think that there are a couple different formulas that they have. One is, you know, like more buttery feeling to the touch. It's more squishy. And then one is kind of like more flaky feeling, which that's not one of them. And then they have one that is more like it feels like you're not really even getting anything on your finger, but it's like good color payoff. Like it's a like liquid metal, basically. But I love their shimmer formula. Now, if you are prone to creasing already, which I am, I suggest with these squishy shades that you use like a glitter glue. Because the thing that makes them more squishy is that they have more like the oil or whatever the emollient is in it that makes it, or whatever the ingredient is in it that makes it more emollient. And so it's more likely to crease, you know, if you have wrinkles in your eyelids or if you have hooded eyes or deep set eyes. So I don't find that if you use if you don't use a glitter glue, you'll find that these shimmers don't last as long, especially these more squishy shades. But I find that's true with all indie eyeshadows that are, you know, like these really cool, like multi-chrome colors. And so I typically just always use a glitter glue. So this one is the Samarayan Sunset, which the owner of Adept is like a really big like nerd, self-professed nerd. And she likes Star Trek, which I think this one is based on, or is it this one? Or maybe both, I can't remember. Heather Austin's palette is just Heather Austin's palette. I think those are the only nerdy palettes I have. I didn't get the Inspired palette, although I really liked it. That was based off the Green Arrow. I also didn't get... oh gosh, it's the little one that was based off of Superman. I can't remember what it's called. I'll pop the name on the screen if I don't cut this whole thing out. So then there is the Amy Loves palette. This is the newest palette from them that I have. It is not their newest release. And this was a collab with Amy from Amy Loves Makeup. The packaging I think is gorgeous. It is like textured and glittery, but I don't ever have any glitter that like flakes off on my hands or anything. So I don't find like it's a horrid mess to store. It doesn't get glitter on my other palettes. But the shades in here are so beautiful. Like, again, you have this more like squishy molten shade. And then I think this one's a more firm. Yeah, this is like the firm shade that's not as squishy, but it's still like liquid metal on the eyes. Like, these are just so freaking beautiful. Yeah, these just, I love them. I love the color story that, you know, Amy curated with Adept on this one. I like these like muted grungy shades, this gray, this like light brown, this like brownish gray in between, this like almost periwinkle blue, but not quite that purple. Yeah, these are beautiful, and I love the looks that I have done with this. And then these two are two all shimmer palettes, which, given how much I love Adept shimmer formula and how they're known for their shimmer formula, it made sense to me to buy two all shimmer palettes. So this one is the Seahorse, and this one was pretty expensive. Not even gonna lie. Okay, so like from an aesthetic standpoint, I love how the like tie-dye shades look in the pan, but from like a practicality standpoint, this shade is nothing more than like a peach with some pretty sparkles in it. So I have found that like the tie-dye shades, I need to see those swatched out before I'm like gonna commit to a palette with a tie-dye shade in it. Or I just go into it knowing I like the rest of the color story and that shade is probably gonna disappoint me. I really love the shade Paradoxical for like an inner corner highlight on like some more like amped up looks. Like it's got this like yellow pink flip to it. And the shade Soft Coral is beautiful. What you doing? But one of my most favorite shades in the palette is probably Giraffe. This is a more like squishy but flaky one. Now, with the flakier formulas, you're going to have glitter fallout. That's pretty much the nature of a lot of shimmer shades, especially the ones with more glitter in them. The more sparkly that they are, the more fallout I find that they have. I ended up getting just into the habit of doing my eyeshadow first, so it's not really a big deal to me, and I just go with like a Q-tip or a makeup eraser and clean up around my eyes and then do my base makeup. Do you want out? Bye, Polly. No, you cannot come in. And then I have the Plain Jane Remastered, and they initially came out with the Plain Jane and it was discontinued, and they came back out with the Plain Jane Remastered. The only thing that I wish that was in here that was in the Plain Jane is this does not have like a super hot pink shimmer. But it has a couple different formulas. My favorite is probably AC 110, but I also use 12 and 13 a lot. You can tell like I have decent usage or dips on a few of these. So I'll just swatch my absolute favorites. I don't think that the Plain Jane Remastered is anything like crazy unique and special. But I like their shimmer shades enough that I like having these in my arsenal. And so I typically, when I like pull my palettes for the week or month, however I'm doing it at the time, I will typically pull 1 or 2 all shimmer palettes, whether it be a palette like this or a palette that is like curated, you know, with like singles in it, not this, but something like this where I curate it with a bunch of singles. I'll typically pull a couple of those, and I just keep them by like my other makeup that I use every day. And I find I get a lot of usage out of my singles and all shimmer palettes that way. So Adept is probably one of my most favorite indie eyeshadow brands that I've tried so far. So I'm definitely keeping all 6 of these. Oh boy. Natasha Denona. I like Natasha Denona's eyeshadow formula a lot. I like that in the midi palettes, I can rearrange and move all my shadows around. You know, I've said a couple times throughout this declutter that always makes the palette and the brand more valuable to me, like in my head. Maybe worth a little bit higher of a price point, or maybe worth a little bit more to keep around, even if I don't totally love a full color story. So I have a pretty stupid amount of eyeshadow palettes from Natasha Denona. Like, we're not even gonna front here. But also I don't know that I'm getting rid of any. So there's that. We'll start with the smallest and just work our way to the largest, because that's how they're lined up here. So first we have the tropical, or mini tropic, not tropical. I don't have the large tropic or tropical or whatever it's called. And honestly, I don't think I've ever used this, which is kind of a shame. And I haven't had it even a year yet to my recollection. I should have used it this summer, but I was going through some stuff this spring and summer and didn't do my eyeshadow quite as much as I should have, or my makeup, really. So I'll keep this around for one more declutter, and if I don't use it before then, I'll definitely let it go. I recently got the Mini Metropolis. Archie. Shush. And I don't think I've used this one yet, but we're going to keep it because I literally just got it like within the last 2 months. I have the Mini Retro palette. I love this one. I think it's so cute. I love these like muted mattes, and the shimmers are pretty. So definitely keeping that one. I have the Mini Star palette, which a lot of people like, but dislike this shade. I thought this shade was fine. You know, I went into it knowing that a lot of people don't like it. So I think my expectations for it were like much lower. But I think it's a cute palette. I don't really feel like you need it if you don't have it. I feel like if you want the Mini Retro and it's been on your list, that it's a good one to keep on your list. I do enjoy that one, although I will say some people don't like that one either. And then I have 3 more. I have the Mini My Dream palette, or My Mini Dream palette. So this is why I look at the backs, because I can't remember the exact correct names. And this one is cute. I've done one look with it so far, and I think it's just like it's a basic neutral palette. Like, I don't think it's anything crazy special, but since I have it, I may as well keep it. This one I love. This is the Mini Zendo palette, and I really like the look that I did with this. And I've liked a couple of looks that I've seen other people do with this, so this one I really enjoy. It's got 3 shimmers. One's a darker shimmer, which I don't really use that much, but they're pretty. You know, Natasha Denona's shimmers, a lot of them are not going to be like indie brand glam, but they're going to be like beautiful, mature, eyelid friendly, like everyday wear. Not to say that she doesn't have some that are a little more like glam, you know, that are a little more sparkly. But for the most part, the shimmers are going to be more in that realm. Then there's the Mini Love palette, and I think there's like the Mini Love and the Mini Cupid and the Mini Crush. I landed on the Mini Love because I like these shades the best, and I like the looks that I've done with this. So keeping 7. Next. And I will say from this, I have decluttered the Ayana. I don't know if I did it in my last declutter or if I've done it since I filmed, but I definitely got rid of the Ayana. I did not like it. These size palettes are, at least the ones that I have, were all like BoxyCharm or Ipsy exclusives. And the Ayana was too. So this one is the Jubilee, and the pans come out. These little ones, the pans don't come out, which I find so freaking annoying, because I would love these 10 times more if I could switch the shades around, even though these don't fit in the middies or the big or these. Like, if I could trade these around amongst themselves, I would like those 10 times more than I do. So the Jubilee, one, I have seen people don't know what to do with this color story. Every look I have done with this, I have freaking loved. And I don't know why. I used this black, or this looks like a black from afar at first, but it's a deep navy blue, but it ends up being like not as deep because it's a cream to powder shade. But these shimmers I freaking love. Like, this turquoise is so beautiful, and then I love limoncello. It's like the perfect soft yellow. So the looks I've done primarily with this palette is one of these shades as like a crease shade, this one as the outer corner deepening up shade, and then this all over the lid and the yellow in the inner corner. And every single time I love it. But even if I didn't, I really love these 2 shimmers, and I would at least keep this around for these 2 shimmers. This is Limoncello and Mint Frost. Limoncello, I think, is in the, is it the pastel palette? It's in one of the full-size palettes. And I don't want that palette, but having this like satisfies that need for me to have that shade. Hopefully that makes sense. Or that, not need, but like yearning, that longing to have that shade in my life. Then I have 3 others. I have the Cupid palette, and this is like a pretty basic, like neutral palette with like a red, that like a deep red. And I would say I like it, but I don't feel like I have to have it in my life. but I've only used it once, so I feel like I probably want to get a little bit more use on it before I decide if I want to keep it in my collection or not. Again, these shades are removable, so like that also increases the, you know, inherent value to these because I can switch my shades around. I'm gonna see something. Oh shoot. These shades are the same size as the ones that are in her large palettes, which I own 2 of. And they are also magnetic. So I can switch around these 4 palettes with shades in my 2 large palettes and get all different color stories between, you know, these 6 palettes. So I feel like, again, that kind of increases the total value of it. So even though I'm not like super attached to the Cupid palette, I feel like I would at least keep it around as like a palette to trade out shades, or you can create your own curated like 5-pan color story and take those 5 for travel. Then I have the Alloy palette, which this one is probably, I think, my most recent one I got in a BoxyCharm. And ooh, it looks like this is starting to try to pop out on me. I may have dropped it. I don't typically use this dark of a shimmer on my lid. Neither do I use this type of like a coppery shade on my lid very much, but I'm a broken record and I do like that you can pop the shades out. So Declutter, and I may even consider, like, if I have duplicates of this in the Sunrise palette, like just going ahead and decluttering it. Although I do like the brown packaging, but like I'm fine. Since it's my newest one though, I'm gonna keep it around for another like year, and I may declutter at the next round. And then I have the Cranberry palette, and I love this one. I actually had this on my wish list for a long time, and finally was able to snag this on a really good deal, and I love it. Like, of all the 5 pans of the larger size that I have, this is definitely my favorite. You know, out of all of these palettes, if I could only keep 2, I would probably keep these 2. I'd keep the Mini Zendo and the Cranberry. They're my favorite. And, you know, eventually I may get to that point, but today's not that day. So we're keeping 4 of those. All right, so my MIDI palettes. I can already tell you that I don't think I'm decluttering any of these, and I'm not decluttering my big ones. So if watching me talk about Natasha Denona palettes doesn't interest you, I'm gonna try to put the timestamps on this video so you can skip around where you would like. So first I have the Love palette, and this was a gift for Christmas. I don't think last year, but maybe the year before, but maybe it was last year. I can't remember. I love this one. I am not drawn to it too much. The red does throw me off a little bit, but you know, if I cover up that one shade, this palette is a little bit more approachable to me. I do like the tones of purple that are in here, and I like the tones of pink that are in here. So this one, if nothing else, I love the packaging, and I love that I can switch the shades around. So even if I don't reach into this a ton for, you know, the color story as it is, I do find that I at least like some of the individual shades and tones in here and could get use on it that way. And then I have the I Need a Nude palette, and I believe this is my newest one. And I love this. This was like a surprise from my husband. I was not having a super great week, and he like stopped at Ulta or Sephora, I can't remember, on the way home and surprised me with it because I had sent it to him and I was like, oh my gosh, I freaking love that palette. I think I want it. And so he bought it because he knew I would just sit around and wait for a sale. you know, again, I wouldn't say some of these are the most impressive shimmers. Like that one's a nice, like that's on indie shadow territory, which Natasha Denona is technically an indie eyeshadow brand, but I guess I should specify like smaller indie, you know, that's not carried in a store and isn't like well known by a lot of people. And then the shade Delilah is really beautiful too. It's got more of like a grungy aspect to it while still being like approachable for every day. So I love this one. I know some people were a little disappointed by it, but I think for what it is, it's perfect for me. And when I have it out, I tend to use it more than one day. So, you know, like when I put it into my rotation and my shop, my stash, I tend to use it more than just once. And then we have the retro palette, which this is probably my, if not favorite, my second favorite. Like it would be a close tie between these two as to which one is my favorite. So I really love the burgundy tones. Like I love a burgundy cranberry like vibe. And I love the shades that go with it in this palette. Psychedelic is really beautiful. Like it's light, but it's nice and like glittery. It's got a beautiful reflect. It's a nice topper shade. I love me a good topper shade. So I love the retro quite a bit. And then you have the retro glam. And like, let me tell you what, I was so confused by this palette at first because this is the mini retro and this is the retro. Like, I don't really understand how this wasn't the retro. And I think that was the general reaction when the retro came out. And I think that complaint was a little bit heard, that, you know, the shades in the retro really don't do a heck of a much with the mini retro. Like these don't go together to me at all. Maybe they do to some people, but I can't put these together in my brain. But these give off the same vibes to me. This is just a deeper version of Faye. And then this is like a warmer version of Holly, like a warmer, deeper version of Holly. And, you know, like I kind of equate these two shades together. And you have two like lighter shimmers. This one's a lot more pink. Anyways, you get the point. Yeah, so the retro glam is kind of weird to me, but it's beautiful. And I've only used this once, so we're definitely not done with it. We have the Sunrise palette. Magically, mine is not squeaking yet. I feel like every video I watch, there's the people that open it, their Sunrise palette squeaks. I love this. I love this for a sunrise style eye or a sunset style eye. You know, these three shades paired together with like maybe this one in the outer corner. I love it. I love a good like sunset style eye. Yeah, I haven't had, I want to say these, these three plus the I Need a Nude are like the newest. Like I've had them less than a year, maybe less than 6 months for one or two of them. I honestly can't remember at this point. Then we have the bronze palette, and I've used this one once. This is like one of the newer ones to me. I got it for birthday, Mother's Day, maybe Christmas last year. But I feel like this is very like fall for me because it's so warm. And I used it once in the summer to do kind of like a brighter, warm look. But I definitely will be using this in the fall time. Then I have the My Dream palette, and I wouldn't say this is my dream, but I do think this is a dreamy palette. It's Natasha Denona's dream, so she can call it whatever she wants. It's beautiful. I do wish that Edgy was darker. Her cream to mattes that are in darker shades, they tend not to be as true to color on the eye as they are in the pan. So it looks like it'll be pretty deep, but when you start applying it, it's almost like a wash of that color. They're just a little bit harder to build up. You got to really like use a firm brush and tap with it. At least that's the method I found that's easiest to get them to build up some pigment. I feel like I need to be a little bit more advanced to be playing around with the cream to matte formula than what I am. Like I need a little bit more practice, in other words, but I love this one. Like I don't know where I would rank it. Maybe I should rank all of my eyeshadow, like all of my Natasha Denona. That is something I should do soon. And then I have the Zendo palette, and I hate this palette. This makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. Together, my brain like short circuits and doesn't know what to do. So yeah, I've tried to pair some of the sides together, and I figured out that I literally cannot. Like I can use these 6 together and I can use these 9 together. And that's how I am allowed to use this palette, because every look I've done that veers away from that, I've hated. I think I even washed a look off and started over because I hated it so much. The main reason I like go back and forth on keeping this palette is I like these shades a lot, and I don't really have these blues and greens in abundance in my other palettes. Like I don't think I have any blues in my other Natasha Denona palettes. So, you know, because these are interchangeable, and sometimes I do like to like pull out a couple of shades and like create my own color story. Like sometimes I'm just feeling really creative, or I want to dupe the vibes of something. Because of that, like that's the main reason I've kept it. Then we have the Sunset palette, and this one I have used once. These are too expensive for me not to use them more. I've seen a lot of people say that they don't super love the quality in this palette, and I didn't really get that feeling, although that white shimmer shade is kind of crappy. Like what is this? Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is. I could probably toss that shade and I don't think I would miss it, except for the fact that I would have a giant gaping hole here, and that would bother me. Yeah, so Ice Gold, I don't think it's neither ice nor gold. But the rest of the palette is nice, and I am looking forward to playing around with it more and changing some shade out. Shades. Jeez, Jen. Then I have my last one, which is the Circo Loco. And this one's super fun and colorful. I do have blues in this palette. This Fun to Mime is really pretty. It's almost like a pastel, but doesn't quite turn pastel when you build it up a little bit. So that's really pretty. I love the shade Aerialist. I'm like out of places to swatch here, guys. I need to go clean myself up. But I love that shade. I've liked the couple of looks that I've done with this palette. I just haven't done very many. So, keeping these 2. And these 8. We're not going to talk about it, okay? One ABH Norvina palette that I missed when I was doing the ABH palettes This one's pretty new to me, and I got it at TJ Maxx. Trust me, I know I'm staying out of that freaking store. It's dangerous. I can't even go look at Home Goods. So I love the color story. The look that I did with it, I thought was really pretty. I was, honestly, when I was looking in TJ Maxx, I was hoping to find the, I don't know if it's volume 3 or volume 5, but it's got like the purple cover with like the silver lines on it. But this one is still beautiful, and I like this yellow. Like, that one's fun to me. And I like these hot pinks, so I'm going to enjoy this one, I'm pretty sure. All right, so now that I got this out of the way, I think I just have 2 brands left. I have Pat McGrath and Colourpop. One of those brands I am going to declutter some from, and the other one I don't think I am, but we'll see. All right. I regret throwing away this box, but that's okay. All right, so we have Pat McGrath. This actually is going to be a declutter. I didn't think I was going to declutter anything from Pat McGrath, but this is the Divine Rose Luxe Quad in Eternal Eden. I got this in BoxyCharm, and it's really pretty, but the look that I did with this turned way too pink for my liking. So I'm okay passing this one on. I have obviously enough Pat McGrath that I don't feel like I'm missing anything by getting rid of a pink palette from her. These 3 were gifts for Christmas last year. So this one is the Mothership Bijou Brilliance Starstruck Splendor, and I've used this one a couple of times, and every look I've done with it I've loved. A lot of people did not like these. They didn't like the blushes that were in there, or they didn't like the shades. You know, is this the Mothership formula? No, it is not. But it's still a beautiful formula, and I really enjoy the blushes. So yeah, I really like this palette, and the packaging is cute. It's kind of odd to me because this like aesthetic is a lot of what she used, or they used, on the Bridgerton collab, and now it's just kind of like a part of the Pat McGrath aesthetic on a lot of the collection. So that's a little weird to me, but that's okay. Let's do these last. Let's do this stack. All right, so I have this cute little tiny little thing. This is the mini eyeshadow palette in Sublime Smoke. I'm such a clown, y'all. Like, I'm not even gonna front. Like, I wanted this for so long, and it was out of stock at Sephora, and it finally went back in stock, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna order it. I'm pretty sure I was able to use a discount code on it, but even if I didn't, I'm not even sad about it. I like it. I like 6 pans, and I like her formula, so, you know, that's just where we're at. I scored this for $12.99. This is the Celestial Odyssey Luxe Quad in Bronze Borealis. This is the Lunar New Year packaging, and this is what it looks like. I haven't used it yet. I've swatched the shades. It's really pretty. You know, it's 1 matte and 3 shimmers, so you have to be able to like a pretty simple look. Sometimes I do, and I like it. I like the packaging, I like the palette, I like the shades, so yeah. And then we have these 2. This is the Love collection, and this one, not in a box, is the Mothership Sublime Seduction. And this one is like a peachy brown color story. And I've liked each look I have done with this. So do I need this and the little mini 6-pan? Probably not. Probably not. But I'm not ready to let them go yet. And I have to be ready. And then we have the iconic Infatuation. And again, I've liked each look I've done with this. And why I still have the box, I'm not really sure. But yeah. Apparently I got these for 30 bucks at TJ Maxx, which I feel like I got a way better deal on this palette than I did this one. This is still for sale at Sephora for like $60, $59, I don't know, however much it is. And then I have this Mothership Mega Celestial Nirvana, and this one I go back and forth about. Like, the looks I've done with this, I've really liked, and I love this shade, but like I have that in other palettes. So like, do I really need this palette? I tend not to use this as a standalone unless I'm using this quad or like these 6 shades. I tend not to use the purple and blue. I've used the blue once. I've used that blue once, and then I don't think I've used any of those 6 shades literally ever. Like, I may have swatched that one, and I swatched that one to decide if I wanted to use it in a look. So this one I'm kind of on the fence about. Like, I feel like if I let this go, I don't think I would be sad about it. And I feel like that's my sign that I should probably let it go. That's pretty, but I'm sure I have other like rosy pink shades in my collection that do the same thing or better. I'm gonna think about this one. All right, then I have 2 true motherships. I'm not really sure why like this is a Mothership Mega. This is a Mothership. Like, why are these motherships? I don't know. Where were these made? Made in US of A and imported ingredients. This one was made in, same thing, US of A. This one is made in Italy. Her good formula is made in Italy, just FYI. All right, so this one is the Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. And a lot of people love this packaging. I always find the faces kind of creepy, but I feel like if I were ever to want to sell these, like if I ever got tired of them or just didn't like the brand anymore and wanted to pass them along, they would be less valuable without the outer packaging, because some people love them. So this is what this one looks like. And I'll be honest, I love this color story. I love this palette. I'm glad my husband shopped Black Friday to get what he did for me. So I'm not sad at all that I have this in my collection. I really do love it. I really do love these special shades that she has. I do think that they are special. I mean, I think they're on par with indie shades, like small indie brands. I don't think that they are $128 special. That's crazy. But maybe $60 special. And in true honesty, I picked the 2 color stories I wanted the absolute most, and asked for those on my wish list. And I do have one other one coming because it was like super on sale at Sephora and I'm an idiot. But it is a little bit different from these 2, so I think I'm okay, but we'll see. And then this one is the Mothership 9 Utopian Dream. And this one, I don't know if this one was made in Italy. It is. And this one, I don't like this color story quite as much as I like this one, the Moonlit Seduction, but I like the special shades just as much, if not more. Like this one has my heart all the way. Like, what a beaut. I love that. I freaking love that. So while the mattes are not quite up there in like my favorite, yeah, I still love this one, and I'm really thankful that I do have it. I don't think I will be spending any more money on Pat McGrath unless it's like at TJ Maxx in the future. Like, I don't even think I have any more palettes on my wish list from Pat McGrath. So like, I'm not expecting my husband to shop the Black Friday sale or anything. I do recommend, if you're looking to get Pat McGrath, that you shop on sale and never pay full price, because I don't think it's worth full price. I'm not even sure it's worth 50% off at this point with the new stuff they've been coming out with and how the brand's been going. So, all right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna keep these 7, and I am gonna declutter these 2. This one is like another palette. I said I was gonna maybe keep it in purgatory for a bit and see how I felt about it. And once I'm sure I'm ready to let it go, then I'll list it for sale. But in my head, it's decluttered. But if I find myself over the next like 2 to 3 weeks regretting that and feeling like maybe I shouldn't, then I'll probably pull it back out and you'll see it later. But in my mind, I'm going to consider this decluttered for right now. I found a few stragglers in my pile of Colourpop palettes and one in my Colourpop drawer. They're all more affordable, so I think at one point I was doing my piles, like splitting up the brands. Shoot, get off. I keep running over my pants. My bad. So I was doing the piles and was thinking in my head, okay, this is affordable brands. And so I stuck these in the Colourpop pile. Anyways, you don't really give a crap. I found stragglers, so let's go over them. First, I have the Almay, and this one is an intense eye color, evening and smoky. And it's one of those that like, it tells you where to put the eyeshadows. This was like one of my first eyeshadow palettes ever. Not this exact one. This is actually a replacement because I tossed the old one. And then I was like, man, I really wish I hadn't done that, because like, this just takes me back. Not that I want to use it, but like, just for the memes. So this is mainly like just for the memories. I'll be honest, like it's not that bad. Like this is berry satin, so like you're not gonna get that much color here, which was perfect for me because I truly did not know what I was doing. And it's a good thing that I was not very good at following instructions, because yeah, I think they would want me to do it like this: lid, crease, highlight, and that's not really how I do my makeup. Anyways, this is purely for memories. I got this for like $2.50 on Amazon. The shadow kind of sucks, and back in the day, I'm not even sure it was that great. Oh gosh, no, I don't want to mess that up. I was gonna say maybe it applies better with the sponge. Which I used to use the sponge because I didn't own brushes. I didn't know people used makeup brushes. What is that? It comes with a sponge. That's what you're supposed to use, right? Which I will say, some formulas do apply better with a sponge than they do a brush, but I have throwaway sponges for that, or like, you know, couple time use sponges for that. All right, anyways, moving on. Then I have the e.l.f. Game Up palette. I don't know why I bought this. Like, I really don't. I thought it was so cute, and the theme was cute, and this sucks. The color payoff sucks. No. And then I have the Morphe Mickey palette. This is the Mini Artistry palette. I guess in Mickey. And this was a gift from one of my family members. And I don't feel like I need this. I have other silvers that I love, and I have other shades like this that I like, and I have really good blacks. So the rest of this palette would be the primary colors, which I don't really use. So I can pass this along to someone that'll appreciate it more than me. All right, let's get our Colourpop palettes kind of situated here. Oh yeah, so that's, keeping count, that's decluttering 3. Colourpop, Colourpop, Colourpop. All right, so I have a lot of Colourpop. However, I have a lot less than I used to, and we're gonna cut this down some. So let's start with these smaller 9 pans. I say smaller 9 pans because you have this size circle pan in the 9 pan, and then you have this size circle 9 pan in the 9 pan, and they're different. So first I have the Secret Admirer, and this has been in purgatory for quite a while, and I always go back and forth on decluttering this. The heart pans are so freaking cute, but the fact of the matter is that that is literally the only reason. And the packaging. I love the packaging. But this is the Secret Admirer palette, and it is so cute, but I have other burgundy pink stories or palettes and other formulas that I tend to reach for a little bit more often. So I need to be realistic with myself and let it go, as much as it pains me. It's only makeup, Jennifer. It's only makeup. All right, then I had a bunch of these monochromatic palettes, and I deconstructed most of mine and put them in a magnetic palette and got rid of a lot of the packaging. I got rid of a lot of shades that I just wasn't interested in using, just because I don't really do monochromatic looks anymore. And so I don't really know what I was thinking buying all of those palettes. I had no business. So this is the Or Kid You Not, and what's funny is I was going to declutter this, and then Andy from Andy Does Stuff suggested we use this palette when we had agreed to collab. It's actually one of the last videos I posted before I just like ghosted my channel, and I freaking love this palette. I was like, never mind, I can't get rid of this. I love it. So I'm keeping it, and I'm keeping it as is. I like the orchid packaging. I like the shades in here. Like, yeah, it's gonna stay just like it is. And then I have It's My Pleasure, which I will tell you, a lot of my motivation for deconstructing these palettes is that I don't love this plastic packaging very much. It falls apart a lot easier. Like this separates from this a lot easier, which I do like that they're magnetic and everything, but it is kind of a pain in the butt. Anywhoosies, this one I like. I don't love like the sequin mattes. I have found the newer sequin matte formula is not quite as bad as it used to be. But I like this one enough that I want to keep it around a little bit longer. I'm not ready to let it go, even though I probably should be. Okay, Anna and Elsa, I actually decluttered to my daughter, and then she kind of like was over Frozen, and I was like, hey, guess what? I'm taking these back. This palette, I feel like is kind of on the way out. Like you can see the really big dip I have in the shade. What is that? I can't read this shit. In the shade Spindrift. And that's honestly because it's a little more powdery. Like maybe it was just not as firmly pressed as like the other mattes in here, but I'm afraid that it's expiring. I love this palette. Like, I use it at least once a month during the winter, and even sometimes outside of the winter time. I could live without this pressed glitter. I really don't use this that much, if at all. I've used it on my daughter a couple of times, just for fun, like around her eyes, not really on the eyelid. It's beautiful, but yeah, I don't, it's very chunky, and I like a little more fine of a pressed glitter most of the time. I love this shade Cuddle Close. This is like a perfect inner corner highlight that I use every time I use this palette. Yeah. I wish if they re-released the Frozen collection, I would 100% repurchase it so I could have a fresh palette. The only Elsa, sorry Anna, you're super cute and all, but Elsa is where it's at for me. Speaking of Anna, I hated this at first because I really was not into warm tones at all. And I still wouldn't say I'm like in love with this palette, but I do enjoy the looks that I make with it. And like, I don't know, it feels like there's something sacrilegious about splitting up the sisters. Like, that is what that D-bag tried to do in the movie, and he ended up in a not very good place because of it. So we will keep the sisters together. I'm not trying to get myself frozen, okay? I'm not meant for that kind of cold. Then I have these Star Wars palettes, and I'm actually going to address my big Star Wars palette at the same time, because I feel like, you know, even though these 9 pans were all made together, you know, well, not made together, made as a collection, I don't have C3PO, and I'm okay with that. I don't love a yellow palette. All right, so this one is The Mandalorian, and I think I actually went as far as listing this palette for sale. And every time I saw someone talk about how much they loved this palette, I was like, ooh, did I make a mistake listing that one for sale? But no, I don't think I did, because I have other color stories that are grungy. This mustard yellow looks like absolute trash on me. Like, I cannot pull that color off. I can pull off some yellows, but that is not one of them. And I don't really love dark shimmers that much. So like, if I break it down into the individual things I don't truly love about it, I'm okay letting it go. And like, it's not like I'm a collector of Star Wars things. Like, I don't obsess about Star Wars. It's a fun movie from my childhood. Honestly, our family watched Spaceballs a lot more than we watched Star Wars. That's another story for another day. Then I have the Child palette. This was the Mandalorian. So this is part of the Mandalorian collection. You know, that they've come out with a couple different ones, but this is the Child palette. And I think this guy is so cute. Like, not only is he adorable, but I like the shades in here. Even if I didn't want to keep this palette in its entirety intact, like, I could see myself getting rid of Little Frog because it's a sequin matte and I just can't be bothered with those with Colourpop. I love these shimmers, so this one is a definite keep. And then I have the Darth Vader palette, and this palette, I don't like this red in the center. I definitely want to switch this out with another shade. I thought I already had, but apparently I did not do that yet. Is there anything in here I'd want to trade? Oh, no, that's way too cringy. Maybe the silver. No, I don't think so. Anyways, I'm going to trade a shade out from my singles of my like monochromatic palettes that I deconstructed. And I will definitely like this palette a lot better because without that red, like, this color story is fire. This red, I just cannot make it go with anything that I do in this palette. And then I have, this is just the Star Wars palette. And this is in the larger format, but the same size pans. I said earlier when I was talking about the Adept Cosmetics tie-dye shimmer that like I don't really like a tie-dye shimmer because it looks so cool in the pan when you, at least when you first see it before you start really muddying it up. But once you mix it together, you get a true idea of like what the shimmer looks like. And this is truly like a purple, like a almost burgundy purple. And then this blue is like a muddy bluish gray with like different reflect shimmers or reflect glitter. There we go. So I like this one, but I don't like this one. And when I initially see this palette with the tie-dye before I totally jacked this up, I was like, oh, that shade is so gorgeous. And that shade, I don't know if I'm going to like it. So it's misleading. I highly recommend before you put those tie-dye shades on your face to swatch them out and see how you feel about them. But the rest of the shades in this palette are beautiful. Even though I don't really do much with that blue or with that red, my God, I'm looking at this and pointing to this. Even though I don't do much with this Galactic Empire shade, this like bright red, which again, like I don't do much with the red shimmer in this palette either. It's a beautiful shade. I could even see myself reaching into this palette for like a red, white, and blue patriotic America look for like 4th of July or some crap. So yeah, I'm keeping this one. I toyed with getting rid of this because I hate those tie-dye shades so much, at least this one, and I don't really like a sequin matte. But I mean, all in all, it's a pretty palette and I like it, and I've loved the looks that I've done with it. This is the That's Taupe palette, and I've also toyed with decluttering this one. Now, if I did declutter it, I would for sure be saving these 3 shades. This one is Slated, Snake Eyes, and Cold Blooded. Slated is this beautiful, like, glittery, taupey nude, kind of. I don't even know if it's taupey. Snake Eyes is more taupey. And then Snake Eyes is beautiful too. And then if you put Slated over Snake Eyes, like, is so beautiful. I love that in a look. So I just don't know that I need these shades, and I don't know that I need this in a palette, because as you have seen throughout this video, if you've watched it all the way through, I have a lot of nude palettes and I just don't reach into this one much anymore. So I feel like this is a little bit lost on me. So yeah, I feel like this is a little bit lost on me. Cold Blooded is a little bit darker of a shimmer, but it's still pretty. It's just like this beautiful, like basic taupe shimmer. And then I don't really use Constrictor that much. It's a bit dark of a shimmer for me. So this one I feel like is on the chopping block, or I may just pull these 3 shades and get rid of the palette. I might even keep the packaging because I like the packaging, and just move along the other 6 shades. So because I'm undecided, I'm going to just consider this a keep, but just know it may not stay the way that it is. I'm running out of room here. Let me put this over there. All right, then I have these 9-pan larger palettes. So I have the Wannabe, and I'm pretty sure I've changed this palette around so it does not look like it used to, or like it was when it was sold. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure this was too warm for me, and I brought in maybe that shade and that shade. I can't remember. I honestly cannot remember. So I brought in a couple of shades that I liked, and I like the looks I've done with this. I don't know that I have to keep this, but I love the packaging, and yeah, we're gonna keep it. And then I have the All Amethyst, and this is a really, really pretty palette. I don't have a ton of palettes that are just strictly purple. I have tried to declutter this one, but I can't really bring myself to do it. So it's staying for now, at least. And then I have By the Rosé, and this one I really wanted to keep. But again, I have other burgundy and pink color stories that I probably would reach for before this one. So this one's a maybe right now. Let me think about it. I love the packaging. That's part of my problem with letting go of Colourpop. It takes me a little bit longer because I like the packaging. And this is another brand where every single pan is magnetic. And you know how I feel about that. This is the Tinkerbell Sprinkle a Little Magic palette, and while I don't use this a ton, I've toyed around with decluttering it because I don't always love the looks that I get from this, but I really love a lot of the individual shades in this. Like Pixie Dust is beautiful. I do love that. And I like the mattes that are in here. I think they perform really well for me. I think sometimes what throws me off is this green. So I have considered, you know, taking a neutral shade from like maybe this palette or another palette and sticking that in here. I don't know. But yeah, if I stick with these shades, I think I like my look a bit better. It's when I try to incorporate the shade Sleep that I just jack things up. All right. Whew. Let's do... Are these all the smaller 9 pans? They have like so many... Well, not 9 pans. These are 16 maybe? 15? Shoot, I don't even know now. They have so many different shapes and sizes going on here. They used to be super consistent. All right. 2, 3, 6. Off Melrose. I love this palette, but I used it a couple of weeks ago and it felt like it's not performing quite as beautifully as it did the first couple times I used it. And I don't know if it's just that I found better eyeshadow formulas or if this is like maybe on the way out, but I'm okay letting this one go. And then I have Bye Bye Birdie, and this one has 2 pressed glitters in it. I love this shade and I love this shade. And I love these, like this color story as a whole, but also the packaging is so pretty. I put this in Purgatory and I pulled it out for this declutter, and I actually had forgotten that I had this palette. So that tells me everything I need to know that I can let it go. And then I have Flutterby, and this one is a really pretty like muted kind of lavender, but a little bit more on the like neutral side color story. It does have 1 pressed glitter, but I will say this is a very pretty pressed glitter. Like she's pretty, and it's pretty good as far as like it doesn't fall off my face the few times I've used it. So I like this one. The packaging I will always keep because I love it. Absolutely. So we're keeping that one. And then I have Sweet Talk, and Sweet Talk, I love this warm, like brown, peachy color story. Again, this one has a pressed glitter. This one looks like a pressed glitter, and it might be, but if it is, it's a very fine one, and I love it. It is very comfortable, does not feel grainy on the eyes. Like this does feel a little bit grainy, like glitter. Oh, it has 2 pressed glitters for sure. So I don't love that about this palette, but again, if I wanted to pop the pressed glitters out and throw some other shades in here, I totally could. So I love this one and I'm keeping it. Wild Nothing, I decluttered to my daughter and I missed it so much that I went out and repurchased it with a gift card. So I'll definitely be keeping this one. What happened was, on my last declutter where I let this go, I had said that because I had the Urban Decay Wild Greens, I didn't feel like I needed the Wild Nothing. Yeah, even though I have the Urban Decay Wild Greens, I was wrong. I really missed having this. It's just like an easy no-brainer palette for me. And then the Lizzie McGuire What Dreams Are Made Of. This is such nostalgia for me for multiple reasons. Like, one, it's Lizzie freaking McGuire. Loved watching that when I was a preteen. There is their infamous pressed glitter in the palette. It's a pretty glitter. I'll give them that. Their pressed glitters are pretty, but a lot of people don't like them. You can use them as nail polish. Jessica Lee, if I can remember, I will link her video on how to use pressed glitter and eyeshadow as nail polish because I love it. Like a lot of people do it, but like she recently posted like a how-to and I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. Although not me with Dashing Diva stickers on because I can't be bothered to wait for eyeshadow to dry. Anyways, I don't like that this has 2 sequin mattes in it, but overall, I love the color story. I love Lizzie McGuire. I always loved Hilary Duff. Like, I loved her way more than any other star that was popular then. Like, yes, more than Britney, although she is an icon for her time. But also, this palette was one of the first palettes that I stepped outside of my comfort zone and did a colorful look that I was like, dang, I like myself in colorful eye makeup. I should do this more often. So, like, just the positive memory associated with that on top of all of the other nostalgia, I'll probably always keep that, even if it's just in makeup memories. Whew. All right. I have the Malibu Barbie palette, and again, like, I loved Barbie growing up. I love the shimmers in this palette, and the mattes performed beautifully for me. I don't do super colorful looks much anymore, but when I do, like, these are some of the palettes when I want a colorful look from Colourpop. Like, these are some of the palettes I lean into, even though they're discontinued and you can't get them anymore. I really do love these. So, okay, I said you can't get them anymore, but like we all know that Mercari, Poshmark, all those types of sites are out there. And if you're outside of the US, like I've seen some people like sell on Facebook and Reddit and that kind of stuff. I don't know what your rules are where you are, but I've seen some of that. So yes, I will be keeping this palette. Like, that is the quintessential Barbie pink, and I love it. This is the Rudolph palette, which was listed as very gently used on Mercari. I just opened it, just got it. It looks like it was used maybe once or twice. And I just need to sanitize it, and then I'll probably be using it. I don't know why I bought it, other than every single time I thought about it, I was like, man, I really hate I missed out on that palette. Although if they bring it back for this year, which I don't think they will because they already brought it back last year, I would be buying a fresh palette. This is the Plush Like Me, and this palette is where I stole some of the shades that I put in the Wannabe. I went back and forth on if I wanted to keep this one, and while I love this color story as it was sold, not as it is now, and I love the packaging, and like it really does remind me of like the 90s with the crushed velvet. I'm okay letting this go. I didn't have like 15 shades between the two palettes that I felt like I wanted to keep. And trading a couple of shades out, I felt like really gave me what I wanted in the palette. And also this velvet packaging gets dirty over time and a lot faster than other palettes. So I'm okay letting it go. And then I have these two. I have the Hocus Pocus Gather Round Sisters palette, and this palette I changed out, I think, Full Moon and Call It a Bus. I know for sure I changed out Call It a Bus because this was a sequin matte that sucked. And so I changed out that one for sure, and I think I changed out Full Moon. I think that was a sequin matte as well. And it was a light sequin matte, and it performed fine, but I really wanted a really light shimmer. And so I opted for this one, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I love this color story. Like, these shades together are so pretty. Even just to look at, like, I feel inspired when I open this palette. And I love the artwork on this one. So definitely keeping that one. And then I have the Villains Misunderstood palette. And this one, I think I changed out some shades, but I honestly can't remember if I did or not. I think I was planning on changing some out. I'll have to look up what this palette is supposed to look like, because looking at it, it doesn't really look like I've changed any shades out. But I love the packaging. I love the villains. So I will be keeping this around. And if nothing else, I'll be keeping it as one that I put my Colourpop singles into to trade them out and have fun with. But yeah, I probably could get rid of like these shades, and probably, I don't know if I'd miss the Fates. I don't think I would miss No Spots. I don't really use the matte white for anything. But some of these shades are really lovely, like Jetsam and Facilier, Forest of Thorns, Diablo is freaking gorgeous. Mongrels is gorgeous. But also like the theme is great. So you get it. I'm done jabbering. Except I'm not, because I have 3 more large palettes. So I have the Fade into Hue palette, and I think this is also, yes, these are also magnetic. Now, are there any other palettes Colourpop makes in which they use these square pans? I don't think so. So how useful it is that these are magnetic, I'm not 100%. Except, you know, like if I want to do dupe the vibes and I'm okay having like some round and some square pans, sure. I really love the pressed glitters in this palette, like not even gonna lie. They're really pretty, even if I just use them as a nail polish. I love the yellow so much. So yeah, I'm not getting rid of it. Like that yellow is like my favorite yellow pressed glitter. I'm gonna be sad when I finally use it all up. I will eventually. It's one of the few rainbow palettes that I keep around. I've decluttered the BH Cosmetics rainbow palettes. I decluttered the e.l.f. rainbow palette. Like, this may be my only rainbow palette that I can think of. And I like the way that it's done. It sings to my brain. So yeah, keeping that one. Definitely keeping Precious Metals. This is the newest Colourpop palette to me. It's actually, well, okay. The newest Colourpop palette to me is the Rudolph palette because I just bought it on Mercari. But this is the only palette that I have purchased from Colourpop new, like a new release, in like a year and a half at least. I did purchase the Wild Nothing as a replacement, which was fine because my daughter loves hers and now I have a fresh one. But this is one that, like, I didn't purchase it when it was new. Like, I waited for a sale, but I love this. I love this palette. This shade, So Metal, is gorgeous. Like, every time I wear this shade, I get a compliment on my eyeshadow from someone at work. I keep this, like, on my desk where I do my makeup, and a lot of times I'll reach in for, like, one of these shades or a transition shade. I use the shade Priceless a ton. I don't know if you can see that dip that I have going. Now, I will say it's a pretty powdery shadow, but I love it for an inner corner highlight. You know, if I'm like, what else does this look need? And it's kind of like a basic but pretty, you know, like neutral look, I will throw that in the inner corner and I'm like, done. Like, we are done. This is perfect. So I love this palette. Every shadow that I have tried from here has been good quality, including Or What, which is a stupid sequin matte, which I typically don't like, but I don't mind that one. I've used it a couple of times. I haven't used these sequin mattes. This one I probably won't like as much because it's got a lot of shimmer in it. And I typically don't like really glittery sequin mattes, but Or What is not quite as glittery. And it does blend pretty well. So, yes, 1000% keeping this. We'll use it until it dies on me. Please don't die. And then I have the Stone Cold Fox. This was like this was the first mega palette that I got. My husband actually accidentally bought me 3 of them the Christmas that he gave this to me. I had like this on my wish list and it kept going in and out of stock. So like I put 2 different sets that it was in on my wish list and he bought all 3, not realizing that this was the same palette in all of them. I'm pretty sure he shopped like a Black Friday sale or something, so he just like panic purchased and didn't realize what he was getting. I don't know why my palette is warped, but it is. Oh, never mind. There's something broken. Oh, that's from the Tarte bronzer. Just kidding, my palette's not warped. So this one's the Stone Cold Fox, and I've used this one quite a bit. Now, not as much as you would think I should have used it, having owned it for like 3 years, but I've used it a good bit. And I'm pretty proud that it's looking pretty used. Maybe not with as many divots as it should have, but she's been loved. She's been well loved. I'm not a huge fan of the sequin mattes in this palette, but I will say, to their credit, in this palette, there are no pressed glitters. Or if there were, I took them out and traded them out. But I don't think there were. I think this was a palette with no pressed glitters. I did have the Rock Candy, I think, palette. And that one is also deconstructed in my singles. So that one is no longer counted in my palettes, but instead the shades I kept are counted in my singles. And the main reason I did that is that it did have pressed glitters, but they were like leaking all into the palette, like seeping into the palette, and I didn't want to deal with cleaning that up. So, final decision on By the Rosé. Okay, I know if I swatch it, I'll want to keep it, but if I don't swatch it, I think I'll be okay to move it along. So we'll declutter that. So we are ending on a declutter. How about that? So 6 whole palettes from Colourpop are leaving my collection. I feel like I'm doing pretty good with Colourpop. You know, like I brought 2 new in to my collection in the last year, and I'm decluttering 6, and I think I actually sold a couple already that I didn't end up showing on camera. So I'm making slow but steady progress on my Colourpop addiction. We will take it. So in total, I am keeping 22 Colourpop palettes. I'm pretty proud of that. I used to have a lot more. I have a whole video dedicated to my Colourpop collection when I first started my channel, and I have since used those palettes more, found other, you know, other formulas I like more, or other shades I like and other formulas I like more. And wow, we lost our light. That's this thing telling me to just shut up. Yeah, so I've made progress. That's it. End of story. And thank you. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always have a great time hanging out with you guys, and love it when you comment below any mistakes you think I made, you know, things I got rid of that I shouldn't have, things that I kept that I probably should get rid of already. So I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, I do hope you'll give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, if you could hit that subscribe button for me. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye.